Hello to all you patriots out there in podcast land, and welcome to episode 279 of Canadian Patriot Podcast, the number one live podcast in Canada. We're recording on January 11th, 2021. My name is Andrew. I'll be your host as always. Joining me tonight, we have Gavin, Brian, and Dave.
Then we'd love to hear your feedback about the show. Please visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com/feedback or email us at feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. Interesting fact, we've done 279 shows. I think that is more shows than promises that Trudeau has kept. Just saying. Version of the show is available on
279.
Could have done one show and had more.
Sorry.
Oh no, he legalized pot.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
278.
That was going to happen anyway.
We need your help to support Canadian Patriot Podcast. Visit patreon.com/CPP and become a Patreon. You can get a better quality version of the show for just $1 per episode. Show you're not a communist. Buy a CPTV t-shirt for just $19.99 plus shipping and theft. Visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com homepage and follow the link on the right.
All right, it's time for my favorite segment that's called What Are You Drinking? It's where we go around and I ask everyone what they're drinking. We're going to start with Dave. Dave, what are you drinking?
Light beer because, I'm trying to better myself and look sexy and whatnot. So, Michelob.
I don't understand.
Yeah, Dave's knocking off thing 6 on the Patriot Challenge, which is 2 liters of light beer.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
This is my last half
Gavin?
liter for the day.
Gavin, what are you drinking?
The huge Jack and Coke Zero.
All right. Brian, what are you drinking?
Just drinking some old style Pilsner today.
Old style Pilsner.
Yeah. Classic.
That's with the retro can? Yeah. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, they have not updated that can since the 60s.
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't call it
update this
retro.
can.
It's just the original.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just haven't done anything to it. Yeah.
I have a special guest from Dave. He gave me the Festive pudding ale from Green King Brewing in England. It's festive. It donned its gay apparel.
It's a tasty pint of bitters.
It's bitters with like a candy fruit thing.
And it's 6%. So it's
not
real
bad.
beer.
It's not bad, and the 6% does help.
Yeah.
I mean, I still hate the government, but I feel good about it.
Doesn't hurt as much.
The hate keeps
Oh, no,
you warm.
Still hurts. Gavin already alluded to it. We're asking everybody to do the Patriot Challenge. It's just for you, but feel free to post it on social media and grab the template off of our website. You can't tag us because I don't have the social media anymore. And while the podcast may still have a Facebook page, I don't know because I'm not allowed on Facebook. We're
But do
asking
it
you to do
anyways.
5 things. Exercise for 45 minutes. Practice a skill for 10 minutes a day. Read a book for at least 15 minutes and drink 2 liters of water or light beer. The choice is yours.
Right.
Same thing.
And complete one task to improve your life. And if you are on the social media or if you're not and you have friends, maybe share this with them and then share the podcast with them while you're at it. See what they think. Let them tell you why we're wrong. You can gang up on us. It'll be fun.
Yeah, and then you could send feedback to feedback@patriotpodcast.com.
Speaking of listener feedback, I want to welcome a new listener or a new Patreon. I shouldn't say new listener. We don't know. He might have been a listener since day one. A new Patreon from La Belle Provence. $1.50 an episode from Jean. Merci beaucoup, Jean. And if I'm not mistaken, you're the same Jean that ordered a shirt and your shirt is in the mail. So thank you for being a Patreon and potentially being the guy that bought a shirt today.
Merci beaucoup.
Hopefully, we are making your curfew evening more enjoyable.
It would be hard for us to make it worse.
Yeah.
We also have an email from Phil, Rifle and Book Club suggestions. So Phil's got 2 books for us. I'll read his little email here. A Gift from Earth by Larry Nevin. Jennifer Government by Max Berry. You don't have to read this one out loud. That is all. Have a great day, Phil. Bill, thank you for your clear and concise email. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with the Max Berry book. I have not read it, but I remember having read about it when it came out. I was in school when it came out, and it was like it. The way that they marketed it was to build an interactive website that I found out is actually still going, where you could build your own simulated country, and it's been going for like 20 years. So that's kind of neat.
Is it like in
I've not read the
HTML? Is
book,
it
though.
updated?
I don't know what it's in. It seems reasonably current and live. I vaguely recall when it came out because it was like a case study in like how to do guerrilla marketing and website design stuff, because it was not massively multiplayer, but kind of massively multiplayer. It's all text based. So you got to control your economy and government based on your own.
Can you die of dysentery?
I don't think so, but you could probably make everyone in your country die of dysentery.
Oh, okay.
Same difference.
Cool. Yeah. Cool.
Give them a shitty vaccine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I imagine. So
I might have to put on some funky socks and play that game and see how far I can tank a country.
Take over,
And how
take
quick.
over a free country and make it a dictatorship.
I kind of vaguely recall that book from when it came out like 20 years ago, and might have to look into that. And Larry Nevin is one of those authors that I've heard a lot about that I have never gotten around to reading. He's a big time hardcore sci-fi author, and he's actually like got degrees in mathematics and science subjects, so his stuff's supposed to be really good. Like,
Oh, so it's not
technically
just totally
accurate, I
made
mean.
up? Yeah.
So I've not read any of his novels, but I think we'll put those on the reading list. It seems pretty good.
Yeah. I mean,
All right.
anything's got to be better than the book I just finished. Ugh.
What did you just finish, Gavin? Tease everybody.
Saul Alinsky, Rules for Radicals.
Was it awful? I bet it was awful. I remember it being awful.
It was absolutely infuriating reading it.
Really?
It's not a difficult
Like-
read, though, right?
No, it's not. But like you read it and you're like, so basically you're saying just make up a bunch of shit and people are going to listen to you, and that's how you take down the people. And it's just like, this is so infuriating because that's exactly what people are doing and it's working. So like, it angered me to no end. Like every time I would go through this book, I was just like, "Grr."
I get that, and it is rage inducing, but it's also
It's handy to know because know your enemy.
it's all the plays, and it's not
Yeah.
secret, right? Like the
Yeah,
shot is clearly written out and defined.
Yeah, and to the point where like he's saying like, yeah, like you can insult your your enemy or your target and all this other stuff, and you're just like, this is ridiculous. But yeah, you should read it. But if you, and I'm sure we'll put it on the reading list and talk about it. It'd probably be like a super black pilling episode, but terrible.
I want to thank Dawn for listening in the live chat and insulting my choice in free beer. But also, Dawn is welcome to come on the show and talk shit in person, so to speak, because he can give Dave and I both a hard time about Dave's beer.
Yeah.
Hey, I got it for free, so I'm not complaining about the price.
I also got it for free.
Yeah, I can't talk shit about Don. I did swing by his place and picked up a wonderful care package.
Well, that's good. Was there any gay beer in it? I mean, festive
No.
beer in it.
No, but there was a shit ton of the devil's lettuce.
Decent.
Degenerate.
Not for me.
We also-
Not for me.
Spencer Brass on YouTube also has a suggestion for the book club here. I'll just copy this into the show notes right now so I don't forget about it later. Lament for a Nation: The Defeat of Canadian Nationalism by George Grant, which sounds vaguely familiar, which makes me think that it got banned from something at some point.
Oh, we definitely need to read it then.
Is Jocko's book not on the Audible store? I'm having a hard time finding it.
No, you're gonna have to read that one in real life, Dave.
Might have to stop by your house and pick it
You
up.
know what? I can give you the Cole's notes, such as it is. You're on the Spotify.
Yeah, well, the thing is there is actually on Audible, like a book review.
Cole's notes.
Yeah, a Cole's
Yeah.
Notes
Well-
book review that I downloaded. So I'm like, well, I guess I
The
get
reason
the
I was
gist
going
of
to
it.
suggest Spotify is there's a bunch of tracks that are basically Jocko reading things from the book. But I think
Okay.
it was from the podcast from before he wrote the book, but it's all interchangeable.
It's
So
the
you
same
can go and
shit,
listen
yeah.
to the CD, the album,
Yeah.
whatever on Spotify, because it's like 12 tracks or 15 tracks or something. And you'll get
Yeah, it's not a very
80%
big
of the
book.
book.
Yeah, and like some of it is actually like describing workouts, which like you don't really need to get the context of the book.
All right.
But we'll talk about that, I guess, in
News
weeks?
o'clock. Yes.
Something like-
Not
yeah.
next week, the week after.
Yeah.
The 25th.
Yeah.
Last Monday of the month, as it were.
Yeah.
So let's
we've
talk
always done
about let's talk about the news. This is in the Hamilton Spectre. Asking questions is not, quote, responsible behavior, says Chrystia Freeland. For everybody in podcast land that's not aware, that's our deputy prime minister and finance minister now. And that's directed to another MP in the House.
It's kind of weird that they have this whole thing called question period, though. If that's not
Do you remember when
appropriate.
the Liberals campaigned on an open and transparent government?
Yeah, I created a meme. It's the one of SpongeBob where he's doing like the rainbow with his hands, and it said transparency in quotes.
I think they like to
Yeah.
post stuff like facetiously and or like as an acronym. Like they mean the opposite when they say stuff. So like by transparent they mean, you know.
It seems that way because I know on the court case that CCFR is taking them to court, they're proposing that they're not even going to answer why they did this gun ban in the first place. They're apparently just going to plead like the fifth, basically, not say anything. Apparently they're allowed to say like, we don't have to tell you why we're doing this. You're just going to have to listen to us. And apparently that could be good enough for the courts to let them do what they're doing. So
I mean, that doesn't surprise me. Going back to what Freeland was saying, this was I don't know if this was actually in question period, but Pierre Poilievre, who is probably my favorite conservative MP right now, we'll see how long that lasts, was asking how much money the Bank of Canada had spent buying bonds on behalf of the Liberal government. I'm editorializing in a significant way, but the question was about Bank of Canada spending regarding bonds and which companies they had bought bonds for.
Yeah, you can't ask that. It's
No,
inappropriate.
it is inappropriate. And the finance minister, the deputy prime minister, said that Poilievre should direct his question to the Bank of Canada.
Oh, really?
Because it's not her job to answer questions for the Bank of Canada.
Except
I
that
should
she's
like
the
to know-
finance minister.
Well, that's the thing. I would like to know who directed the Bank of Canada to buy which bonds, and I would like to know which bonds were purchased.
Yeah. If it's not you, crazy lady, then point the finger at who it is.
Well, like it's not like it's not no money, but like $180 million in corporate bonds is like a significant amount of what should be our federal budget.
Yeah.
I mean, for Canada, that's a lot of money. Like
Well,
it's still a lot of
that's
money.
a lot of money. Like $180 million is not an inconsequential amount of money.
No,
If
no.
it's our tax dollars, we should know where it went and who
Well,
authorized the spending of
Is it our tax? Is it our tax dollars though?
It seems like everything in this government though, it's just $1 million. It's Oprah Winfrey up in this bitch. Just $1 million for this, $1 million for that. And it's
Yeah.
just like I can't even
I know.
fathom what actually
Yeah.
costs so much money that you're throwing money.
It is an NFL player at the strip club and it is raining.
Yeah, it's just raining, and it's just like what do they put down on the expense report to justify saying, just toss me 180, yo, just toss me 180. It's cool. That'll do me for a bit, anyways. It's like what are they justifying is going to be
if
done with
it's-
that 180 million?
It's like everyone in my
Allow-
industry.
Allow me to
it's
tell you.
Work boots is what we put down on the invoice when we do that.
Allow me to read the deputy prime minister's comment from. I think that they were at finance committee when this was said, but let me read Freeland's comment. Mr. Chair, I want to be very clear that it is undermining of our economy to be raising questions in the minds of Canadians about the independence of the Bank of Canada. This is not responsible behavior.
What?
Not actually answering the question, not actually saying anything about the bonds, not responding to Poliver, but
that's their playbook. Every time they get asked a question like that, you're like, oh, that's a juicy question. I can't wait to hear this answer. They well, you know what? I grew up as a child, and my dad worked as a blue collar, and they tell this big ass story that has nothing to do with the original question, and somehow they get away with it over and over again. What I don't get is like how this. What's the Speaker of the House? What's he doing there? How come he can't be like, okay?
Well, again, I don't think this was done in the House. I don't think the Speaker was there. I think this was in Finance Committee, but
I just don't get how there's not like somebody in these proceedings that will be like, look, Mr. Blair or Miss Friedland, they specifically asked you a question and you just keep spinning in circles. Now, either answer the question or you'll be held in contempt. Wouldn't that be like, well, I guess they're not under oath or anything, but like, aren't you
better if they were?
There's no obligation for them to answer anything, and if anything, it's now come out that like if too many people start asking the same question because the person isn't answering, the people asking the question get in trouble.
Yeah, like what does this world come to? It's ridiculous. Like I watched a video recently where, forgive me, I don't remember the guy's name. He was a conservative guy, and he was asking Bill Blair. He's like, "How many criminals are going to be affected by your gun ban?" And he couldn't be like, well, you know, these specific gangs are going to be affected by this, or he didn't have any kind of.
Well, no, because the only answer he would have that's truthful is none. None of them would be affected. But that's not a good soundbite. That's all. So he'll,
so you're telling me that's what pisses me off. Is like you can't even come up with a lie where he's like,
no, he's going to talk about how much money they're putting towards the guns and gangs unit, how that's going to do something, but then never actually deliver on the money.
We have 250 million set aside, but we're never actually going to give it to you.
Yeah. And that was from the previous election. Yeah. Right?
Let's talk crap about Blair for a minute. I got another one on CTV News. Blair has no time for partisan outrage over immunizing inmates. This is on CTV. This is more of the same.
Don't ask questions.
O'Toole brought this up. I think this one was actually in the House, but O'Toole brought this up, and O'Toole says that no one criminal should be vaccinated ahead of any vulnerable Canadian or frontline health worker. And what's Blair doing? He's refusing to answer any questions and telling us that inmates are going to get vaccinated.
And basically saying tough.
Yeah. So are they in line to get it before the general public or
100%? Really?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Vaccinate the shit out of those people.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Actually, they can use them as guinea pigs to see what happens.
I mean, from our perspective, yes, but also from like the consistency perspective of the government. Why are we giving criminals the vaccine before we're giving it to healthcare workers? Bearing in mind that we have socialized medicine.
I would even go so far as to say, why are we giving criminals room and board? But like, whatever.
Helicopter rides only, but anyways, that's another discussion.
Maybe like the unions of the security guards, the prison guards. Maybe they're like pushing the government hard to make sure that these inmates get vaccinated because it's like probably one guard per how many inmates.
Yeah, but get the guards vaccinated, then they don't have to worry. Boom, problem solved, right? Screw the inmates. Like,
yeah.
I mean, if this was an actual vaccine that we needed, and
yeah, but I'm talking about like the unions, right?
The union probably doesn't give a shit about the prisoners. They care about the guards, that like the employees and the people that pay the union dues. Prisoners don't pay the union dues, so like they probably push hard to get the guards vaccinated, but like give a shit about the prisoners.
No, I'm not. I'm saying they could have interest in saying that it's dangerous for their employees to be exposed to people with the virus.
Sure.
Yeah, but that's why they would vaccinate the
guards.
Yeah. guards get it. Boom. Yeah. Because I mean, I would say that like,
I know, but we're talking about the corporate world here. They're probably like, we want both of them. Both of
Well,
them to
that,
be
and I think that's
vaccinated.
the
Yeah.
thing is that they have willing is maybe not the right word, but a willing set of participants in this vaccination scheme.
yeah.
If you're willing,
been
or get in the
voluntold.
helicopter.
Yeah.
But it is disappointing
Yeah.
that almost all the COVID deaths have happened in nursing homes, and then we're going to vaccinate all of these criminals before we vaccinate seniors or healthcare professionals.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
I
we
just-
could have
the-
used the criminals as like the guinea pigs to test it pre-approval and see what happens, because at least then it would have been tested better. And then given it to like, yeah, the old people in care homes that are actually at risk of this whole thing.
Yeah, I'm not on the vaccine train, and I'm not
No,
likely to get
I'm-
on the vaccine train, but also the ideological inconsistency of the government bothers me in like a visceral way.
Oh yeah,
Just
but see,
be
when they do it, it's
consistent in your
okay.
argument. Just
They
be
need-
consistent. That's
Yeah.
all I'm asking. Just be consistent.
I think
Oh,
people
yeah.
need to be clear too. Like, it's not that any of us, I think, are against science or vaccinations on this panel, but when it's rushed the way that it's been, it just seems really dangerous and irresponsible, right?
Yeah, and if we are gonna
Hard
give
to
it
see me raising my hand on my green screen. and
No, we see
definitely
you.
hard on the podcast, but I mean, I'm kind of opposed to a lot of the vaccines. Maybe not all of them, but like most of them.
yeah, but you have a scientifically based reason for your objections to them.
Well, I like to call it that. I don't know that makes it true
I mean,
in the eyes of the
Yeah, but
government.
but
I
it's
mean,
not
stuff like
like, I mean, as we had our listener feedback last week, like we're all reasonably sure that the autism isn't caused by the vaccines.
Yeah, and the
And
vaccine
even if it
cures
is-
Caused by
polio.
shooting 22s.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And even if it is, it's such a low risk that if it's generally it's worth taking certain vaccines, because you have a 1 in 10 million chance of getting this, or like a 1 in 1,000 chance of like dying of polio, like,
Yeah, and not dying
Yeah.
of polio is preferable.
yeah.
Yes.
Because if we died of polio, we wouldn't be here to do the show. Talk shit
And then
about
who
the
would tell you
government.
about not believing the government?
Yeah. Some other jackasses. Yeah.
I realize sounds kind of conspiratorial, and maybe my tinfoil hat is on too tight, but I don't believe in the industrialized big pharma medicine thing that we have instead of actual healthcare.
Yeah.
No, touche.
Right? Like
Yeah,
I don't
believe like the bigger organization of it definitely is all about profit, but I really still believe that people in those industries are really good people. There are some really great people in those industries.
I think there are absolutely great people in
Yeah.
those industries, and I think there are lots of doctors that go into medicine for the right reason, and I think there are a lot of people that go into pharmaceutical industries for the right reason.
Yeah.
But I also would be the first person to volunteer to throw the entire Sackler family out of that helicopter that we talked about.
Yeah.
The Sacklers are the people that own Pfizer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's much like any profession, right? Like the people that, yeah, that get into teaching and policing and all of these other things probably do it for the most part for the right reasons. But then there's a handful of them in any of those professions.
That do it for the very, very left-wing reasons.
Yeah. And warp it around. And then, other people kind of either just aren't paying attention and, get redirected because they go with the flow, or they kind of do it intentionally because they don't want to rock the boat.
Deeply disappointing in the government, the healthcare
Yeah.
industry.
179 episodes of being disappointed in the government.
Well, let's continue to be disappointed in the government in a turn of events that should be shocking to no one. On the Toronto Sun, yes, I know the Toronto Sun. Canadian experts research finds lockdown harms 10 times greater than benefits. This
Shocking.
is from a doctor at Children's Hospital in Edmonton, specialist in pediatric infectious disease. There's a bunch of Q&A stuff. The gist of it is that the effects of the lockdown on people's mental health is 10 times more deadly than the actual virus. 10 times
Shocking.
more people have died from losing their job and being socially isolated and committing suicide or not being able to pay their bills or not being able to feed their kids or going through all of these other factors outside of the actual illness resulting in death.
Does it take into consideration also, like, you know, the skipped cancer treatments or the delayed cancer treatments and stuff like that? I haven't read the full article.
Probably not, but like, I mean, if you look
I
at,
would actually say it does. I haven't seen his
Yeah, I think it
actual
does.
research, just the
Yeah.
Q&A. I haven't found the white paper. I don't know what journal
Yeah,
it's in that
but
I
I
need to go
mean,
and find it in.
Mhm.
drug abuse, alcohol abuse, mental health issues, domestic violence, suicide, like all of those things are on the rise. All
Yeah,
of
Mhm.
financial issues, like people
Yeah.
losing their businesses. Not to
That's the
mention
thing, is losing
ripple
your-
effects on children. Like I worry about. I worry
Yeah.
about my daughter. She's just going into her first year of high school next year, and this grade 8 and like grade 7 last year for her
Yeah.
it's been terrible.
Oh, yeah.
And like
Yeah.
it looks like she's going to go into her graduation year in this whole weird COVID situation.
exactly.
So
Right, like and
it's
this
being
these
taken
measures,
away from them. Their childhood's
yeah,
being stolen from them.
and these measures are going to have lasting effects and things that we don't see now, but next year, the year after that,
Mhm.
when we find out that, like, oh, like, not that I'm against online education, but like we kind of had to rush it because we didn't have another choice at the time because the teachers
Well,
were
I
fighting
think
it prior to this. Like, so there's going to be some gaps in people's education that are going to hurt them later in life. There's going to be things from not socializing in person with people that are going to cause some social issues with people that it'll
I
affect them
think
later
that's
in
the
life.
thing, especially with like taking Brian's example with school age children. The online learning thing is not a bad thing if you're a person that already has the skills to learn independently.
Yeah.
If you're learning how to learn, which is what you should be doing as a school age child rather than the government indoctrination that you're actually doing. Wow, it really is going to sound like my tinfoil's on too tight this episode, but whatever, so be it. If you're a school age child and you're supposed to be learning those skills with how to actually learn, and you're supposed to learn the social interaction and do team sports and all of the other school things that you should be doing, that's not just sitting
Yeah,
in
it's-
class and regurgitating
Yeah.
the correct answer.
Or-
All of those social development issues are going to be a problem for this generation, I think. And the
Yeah.
longer it goes on, the worse it's going to get. And the more derastinated and alienated these kids are going to be, the harder it's going to be for them to integrate into some sort of community or future society.
They were
Which
already
is probably
having
what
an
they want.
issue with social skills prior to COVID because of their infatuation with the internet and just the whole digital platform nowadays.
I mean,
Everything's social media.
It's
right?
a blessing and a curse for these children because, like, the great thing about it is that they have these kids that have now been separated from their friends that can still do things with their friends as a social group. They can play games online. They can do all kinds of cool stuff that we couldn't do as kids without like physically going and spending time with your friends. But that is also the worst part, is that they are missing out on physically going and doing stuff with their friends. Whatever it is, it's like building a fort, playing Cowboys and Indians, if people even do that anymore. It's probably not PC, it's called something else. You probably don't have cap guns anymore, but like you got to get out and you got to do stuff in person with your friends and like eat dirt and fall down and scuff your knee and all that stuff. And that teaches you about life.
On a tangent.
Most jobs, you know, are pretty much you don't do them by yourself. You know, you need to be part of a team. 99% of jobs are teamwork based,
Yeah.
and when you don't learn those team building skills, man, you're gonna have a freaking hard time.
School is more than just learning your book smarts. It's like Andrew said, learning how to learn and learning how to interact with people, and you're going to come up against good people and bad
ways.
people. But yes, you have a tangent.
The other thing I think about too also is the the nature side of things. Like me as a hunter, I like obviously I feel like I'm a conservationist first, and that's because I spend so much time in the outdoors. I love to go outside. Where I feel like this generation was losing that to begin with, and I feel like if anything, COVID is going to speed that process up, where it's going to disconnect humans even more from the earth, from nature, from from who we truly are, part of the earth.
I think
know what I
to
mean?
a certain degree that's valid, and I think that applies primarily to cityots, people that live in Toronto and other large urban centers. But I mean, like,
Well,
this
that's
is-
not true because I was born and raised in the city, and that's how I feel. So we're not all like that, Andrew.
I'm not saying you're all
No.
like that, but I also wouldn't equate you to a cityote for
Okay.
precisely those reasons.
Thanks.
Yeah, predominantly, unfortunately, like that is the stereotype, and I would say, like, you know, living just down the street, like, and having also grown up in the same area, it's like that, and it's becoming more and more like the more urbanized the city that we're living in gets, the worse it becomes,
Like
and
my
that's
point
slowly
is,
spreading
the
out.
thing is, you guys go out, you spend time outside, you go out in nature, even living in an urban center. I know Gavin goes out and does things in bike riding and in nature and like even in his own community without having to go very far.
well, we're lucky we have a nice big park right by us. So
Well, and
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like you can go out and you can do those things, but there are
A lot of people that
like,
don't.
think about downtown Toronto with all the people that live in condo buildings, and there are few parks for them to go to, and they don't have cars and they don't leave the city and they can't go out and do those things. And now with COVID, they can't really even enjoy the parks in any kind of a meaningful way because they lack the green space to begin with. They lack the ability to leave the city, which
and that's my point is where like
probably an okay thing.
before like people might have had the chance to go out and experience these things, and then when there was a development proposal somewhere, they would fight against it if it was in a nature sanctuary or whatever, because people were aware of this, right? Because they would go out and actually do things. Whereas now I feel like if this lifestyle keeps progressing, no one will know when they knock down a nice area, because
it
no
keeps
one will
getting
know the
worse and
difference.
worse and worse. Yeah, the more urbanized the center becomes, the fewer people actually get involved in the nature, which means they don't know about it, which means it gets torn down more to build more high rises so that the population density can go up, which then means it just keeps going and going and going and going and going.
So for me, as like from my perspective, from how old I am, from what I like to do, from everything, this COVID to me is devastating. It's like obviously I'm scared of the virus and its potential issues, but everything else that we're discussing right now, the issues that I see arising from it, that's what really scares the shit out of me.
Well, I think that's because you have a rational and realistic view on what's going on in the world around you. And I think much like going outside and living in an urban center, that makes you a minority.
Well, and that's what scares me even more is that I just see like this, it was already a speeding train or an avalanche, whatever you want to call it. Now it's just like it's turning into an unstoppable moving train where it's like the mentality is it's impossible to fight against because like we were talking about earlier,
everybody's been scared
exactly.
you know, scared
Some
shitless
people don't
by
even
the
want to
media.
go out now to even deal with the mass Nazis, like what we were talking about earlier today. It's getting so ridiculous, and it's like
I really can't stand the mask Nazis.
and I just don't understand where is it gonna. Hopefully, one day is it gonna tip back in the other direction, or are we just gonna keep going down this crazy, uncontrollable train that we're on right now into fucking I don't know, oblivion to dumb fuck land, whatever you want to call it. But it's scary. It really is scary.
What was the revolution in an Eastern European country in 1989? It was it's not Croatia, it's
The Serbian and Croatian.
no,
Oh, it's Bosnia, Sarajevo or something like that.
I still don't think like that's the right vintage, but that's not the right thing. And I was reading something by someone earlier today that
Czechoslovakia?
lived through a revolution in 1989 in Eastern Europe. And the country now escapes me off the top of my head, but they didn't revolt until they literally ran out of food. People were starving to death before they started to overthrow their government.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
I think that's what it's going to take. And I've said that before: is people aren't going to care until they can't feed their kids.
I don't
It's
even.
like, it's like the boiling a frog, right?
Even in, yeah, well, you're right. I think it's like we're already in the boiling water. And Andrew, I really think I don't know. I really don't know. I really think people are so like
Well, especially
denial of the
in this
situation
country,
that
it seems like the
they would
sheep
still
definitely
think
outweigh
that there's
this.
going to be a helicopter that came and dropped them food at some point. They would have faith to the end.
Poland.
You know,
No,
They had
I mean,
one in
may-
'89.
Yeah,
Maybe they did have one
because
in
the
89,
wall
but-
was
But it
still
was
up, right?
the revolutions of '89 formed a part of the revolutionary wave in the late 1980s and early '90s.
Romania.
It resulted.
Romania.
So it was basically all of those Soviet.
It was all those Eastern Bloc countries.
They all started to do it all around the same time,
The-
which is probably
the-
why we're like, oh yeah, like Bosnia and all that. Like it was all.
It
They're
was
all.
all of them.
You're-
We're
You're
all right.
correct. You're
Yeah.
correct. But I was thinking of a specific incident
Kazakhstan.
in, not Kazakhstan, in
Latvia.
Romania in 1989. I was reading a first-person account, like a journal of somebody that participated in the overthrow of their government, and they did it when they ran out of food. People were starving to death, and that was when they overthrew their government.
And I think that's what in this country especially, it just seems like the sheep vastly outweigh the people that understand, like, the people on this panel that understand what the F is going on. And I think it's going to need in this country, it's going to need to be extreme. It's going to need to be quite a bit more dire before people will be willing to put their goddamn foot down and say enough is enough, Trudeau. We don't want you anymore.
It's going to be awful. It's going to be
but this
terrible. And
is-
I've said it a long time ago on the show. I think when Tyler was on one time, we were talking about this. It's not going to happen until people can't feed their kids.
Yeah,
But
it's going to be Venezuela.
Maybe then. But okay, like, and I'm not saying this was the right thing to do, but look how vilified the people that really felt like they were trying to make a difference in the States. They really thought they were trying to stand up for something. I didn't realize they actually were like trying to break down, or they broke into the Capitol building. But like, those people really believed that they were doing the right thing, right? And the
problem is, though,
the
is
media
like, so-
made them out to be
Well,
like they're like terrorists. So like, that's what I'm trying to say is, how do you circumvent that, even if you have a decent sized group? And we just said the sheeps way outweigh everybody else. When you can spin doctor that and make everybody, anybody that's
thing.
going to try and make a revolution is going to look like a psychopath.
Yeah, the only way that you don't is you have to win. Then
Well,
you
with
get to
major-
rewrite history.
Major force.
But the problem with anything these days, I mean, and you look at it like, and not to
Which
get
I think
into U.S. politics too much, but like, I'm sure the vast majority of the people at the thing were venting their frustrations in an appropriate manner. You had a handful of idiots
That went crazy.
that went.
And how much of that is possibly a false flag on top of that, or some
and
other
that, yeah, so you've got
subterfuge?
people that are there to just cause trouble, and there's people there that are also there to instigate trouble, and then some people that are easily led astray by one or both of those groups.
Okay, but
I'm
like,
your
even if,
Huckleberry.
but what I'm
We're
trying
not
to say,
talking about like,
but look how shitty those people look now. They have no
for sure.
validity. Like, they can't.
Can't
Nobody's
even
gonna
board a
take them
plane.
seriously now, right?
But that's because they didn't accomplish anything. Whereas if they had actually succeeded in accomplishing something, they would be the victors and they would get to rewrite history. Like if
I really feel like my tinfoil's on too tight, but not to counter signal too hard. I think they accomplished exactly what they set out to accomplish.
well, but
Because I think this was a false flag event that was planned by certain people. That yes, there were lots of people there protesting with what I'm going to call the best of intentions, but
Yes.
they were pushed or bullied or browbeaten into a situation where the media got the pictures they wanted of people doing the things that they shouldn't be doing in the U.S. Capitol. And those people are now, and this is going to dovetail very nicely into the upcoming story, domestic terrorists. And it's literally the worst thing that ever happened. And we're not going to discuss any of the protests or police officer killings or fire bombings or destruction of businesses that took place. Instead, we're going to focus on a few thousand people that did something in the U.S. Capitol that only
They're
hurt the government.
insurrectionists.
It's amazing how all of a sudden that
They weren't
everybody was
insurrectionists.
like,
if they
these guys
were,
are
they would have
terrorists.
overthrown the government and had a plan. This
Exactly.
is worse than the
That's
time
what I'm
that-
trying to say.
This is
Yeah.
the worse than the time that the Lavoie family took on the Bureau of Land Management and occupied some park ranger building because they showed up and they had no plan. Who shows up to have an insurrection and has no plan once they get
what I
into the
mean.
building?
That's why they keep using this insurrection word, Nancy
Well,
Pelosi and all of them, and,
This
and just
word, I do not
drives
think
me
you
up.
know what this
up.
means.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think you understand what an insurrection is, because if it was an insurrection, there would have been some shots
Exactly.
fired at the very
I
minimum.
mean, this is exactly like when the FBI or the ATF or whoever it is
Are
finds
we
a
going to talk about
guy.
Waco?
Well, basically, they find a
Ruby
guy
Ridge?
that's easily
Which
pushed in a
time?
direction. Well, like all of the people that they end up going in, like,
So every
They-
ATF operation ever.
yeah, they find a guy that's a little unhinged. They make him more unhinged and then give him a plan and then supply him with the materials to make the bomb to blow the things up and then go, domestic terrorist. It's like, bro, you pushed him in that way and then gave him everything that he needed to come up with this. Like, you're more responsible than they are. But I digress.
Well, you should.
Domestic terrorism.
Domestic terrorism. Good segue. Let's do that. Huffington Post Canada. The sources on tonight's show. Singh
At
calls
least we
out
cite
Proud
them.
Boys and
At least
push
we cite
against
them. Yeah.
domestic terrorism. Follow-up article on the CBC, the official voice of Pravda. Federal government weighs listing Proud Boys as terrorist group. So, obviously, we've talked about the U.S. politics a tiny bit. As much as I'm comfortable talking about U.S. politics. The fact that the leader of the NDP wants to have the Proud Boys in Canada listed as a domestic terrorist organization through some petition system, well, he is also the head of the third largest federal party in the country, kind of concerns me. Moreover, the federal government is considering doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened to bills? Do you remember when we actually passed laws in this country through like parliamentary procedure?
As
No,
of May 1st, apparently we don't have to do that anymore.
That's just old school whack style.
I'm
You don't have to answer
parliamentary
questions.
procedure.
Like, don't answer your opposition's questions, and don't even ask them if I can do this.
So I guess there were Proud Boy protesters at the U.S. insurrection event, failed coup d'etat thing that happened. The dumpster fire at the Capitol. I don't know what the
Yeah. The failed
Did you
coup.
say coup de Mardi Gras? What?
yeah coup de Mardi Gras. That's an episode title right there.
Yeah.
So I don't
Nice
know,
one, Davey.
or I shouldn't say I don't know. I have not kept up with who the Proud Boys are, because when I remember the Proud Boys being a thing in the media cycle, it was when right-wing Nazis were having protests in Charlottesville and fat Antifa protesters were getting run over with Dodge Challengers, and the Proud Boys were wearing like
They just wear
khakis
golf
and a
shirts.
certain brand of golf shirt with like a yellow collar.
Yellow strip, yeah. Yellow strip collar, yeah. Striped collar, yeah.
I know that they were created by Gavin Newsom, and it
Gavin
was just,
McGinnis.
or
Gavin
McGinnis.
Newsom is a politician. Gavin
Sorry.
McGinnis is
From
a
everything
TV
I've
person.
watched on
not
them.
to be
Yes.
confused with this Gavin, because I think the Proud Boys are stupid, but I think they should have a
But-
right to exist. But
apparently they just started off as like a social group that would just get together and drink.
so
and
if you listen to Gavin McGinnis talk about it, it was like a joke that he came up with of having like a club of people that are
Well, it's just a fight with Antifa. Antifa kept picking on people
Well, and
that
it
weren't
wasn't
fighting
even-
back.
it
So he's
wasn't
like, well,
even-
let's go fight with these fucking guys. And that's
it wasn't
basically, I
even
think, how it
intended to
started.
be that. It was literally intended to be a joke from what I've heard of, because it was like he even came up with the name Proud Boys from some like stupid Broadway musical song that like some dude that he worked with that was flamboyantly gay would sing like all the time or something like that. Like, so like the whole thing was a joke.
Yeah, like when they'd get together and drink, they would kind of act the part that Antifa said they were. It was kind of like if you were kind of just taking on a persona and being like, well, if this is the way you think I am, I'm going to kind of act like that and be a little stupid. But they weren't really, you know what I mean? They were kind of just trying to play the
So
part.
I actually have
snowball.
questions about their. Did they have like an actual published doctrine, like a political ideology? Is there
Yes.
a manifesto?
Of sorts. You have to be a Western male chauvinist, I
Oh
believe
wow!
is what.
So when the Huffington Post called them like neo-fascist male-only political groups, the Huffington Post was actually close.
Yeah, but they
But again, it's
they
a little
use the
facetious. It's
traditional
there's some-
definition of chauvinist. not sort of the more newer one. Well, I'm trying to figure out what exactly it is, but they have a different definition. It's not necessarily like the modern common accepted definition of chauvinist.
Yeah.
But basically, you need to have a Western civilization viewpoint. Like the West is the best is their like tagline. You have to believe in Western civilization and that Western civilization is the best of all the civilizations that currently exist or have ever existed.
And they said that you shouldn't apologize.
That's clearly false.
You shouldn't apologize for like being a part of the colonizers or whatever. Like if you were a descendant of somebody that, you know, helped build the country, you shouldn't be
Ashamed for it.
ashamed of that. It's something that you should still be able to be proud of if you wanted to.
Okay, so their definition, and I'm looking here, of a chauvinist is somebody that has extreme patriotism. Although it's sort of become
Doesn't
different-
mean what I think that means.
well, but that's one of the classical definition of chauvinist versus like a male chauvinist pig is something that would be thrown in your face. They've sort of taken the thing and like adopted that, and like it's an extreme
I
form
thought
of
chauvinism was
patriotism.
an expressly sexual thing.
But see, that's where like the word
Yeah, you're
has
thinking of it too literal,
changed.
Andrew. They're like they tried to be like
The
you
word
gotta
has
think of it as, like,
changed over
comedic.
time. It has multiple meanings.
They're
So originally it meant somebody that has
I'm going back to my original concept of I don't like Gavin McGinnis and this is stupid.
exactly.
but like that's the
Well,
whole
the whole
thing. It was
thing is
meant as a
stupid.
joke.
It
I
was
think it's
meant as a
dumb.
joke, and it took off, and now they're labeled like neo-Nazis and all this kind of
Well,
shit.
and
So
like
people that are participating in
they're-
a joke are Nazis.
Well, so the problem is it
Do the
seems to
people
have
that are
attracted.
participating know that it's a joke, or is this like an inside thing that Gavin
but
thought was funny? Because I
I
really
think
don't
it's
like
a
his
little
brand
of all of
humor.
those things, right? Like it started out as a joke and it's grown into an actual thing that has now taken on its own life.
It's like Fight Club.
So
They
you
couldn't
look at
stop
it and
Fight
it's
Club
like,
after
you
they
know,
tried.
and the problem is like anything, like the whole Pepe thing, right? Like we know that Pepe is not a racist thing, but because there are just as many like Soviet Russia Pepes as there are Nazi Pepes, and like it's a thing that has gone and like spread in every direction, and it's hilarious. Just like this, where like you've got this group that sort of just went and just like exploded, so it's now attracted people that are joining it because like fraternal organizations aren't a thing that are super popular anymore, because like it's like the Masons and then like nothing else. So this was kind of like one that like younger people could get into, especially like at frat parties, and they would just get wasted and do stupid guy stuff. Like it encouraged people to go and do stupid guy stuff with your guy friends.
This
So all
just
this stuff
sounds dumb.
Yeah.
Like this just sounds dumb.
But like that also then attracts like the trolls, right? So the people that go and make the super dank Pepe memes would be the people that join these organizations on the fringes, and then it just keeps going and going and going, and like they would show up to things and they would be the ones doing the nonsense, right? But then you've also got like Antifa that's like the left-leaning version of this club.
Mhm.
But somehow they're okay, but the Proud Boys aren't okay. Even though, like, the Proud Boys, to the best of my knowledge, have never burned down a city.
Or rip down a single statue.
Like, in Canada, the Proud Boys, I think, showed up to something where there was, like, a native guy, and they had a red ensign, and everyone was like, you need to leave. And then they got fired from their jobs at the military. Talked about it, like, 2 years ago or something.
Well, finally, somebody in the YouTube comments is making sense about this. I agree with Spencer Brass. The left can't meme. That's all I can get out of this.
They can't. They really can't. But yeah, it's a dumb organization that like, are there dumb trolls in it? Absolutely. I think it's almost entirely full of trolls now. But are they a terrorist organization? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think,
Sorry,
I don't
and
think they're
so
terrorists.
I'm reading the YouTube comments as they're scrolling by here. So actual white supremacists alleged actual white supremacists. I question whether the accuracy of that statement, but actual white supremacists got involved. And then Gavin McGinnis, the guy who made the joke organization in the first place, disassociated himself from it. And now is run by a gay Cuban. Is that?
Yeah. So, yeah. So just like, remember how like Milo, the gay Jewish guy that has a
Is that guy gay?
oh yeah,
Milo
has a,
Yiannopoulos? I mean,
yeah.
super gay. Yeah.
yeah,
Is he
yeah.
really?
Oh, he's
I
like
just
a
seen him on a
$3
couple
bill,
interviews.
bro.
I didn't
Like,
know.
yeah.
When was that? Like 2017 that he was popular? 2016 that he was popular?
Wait, hold
Yeah.
on. The guy that just got arrested.
Milo
Wait.
Yiannopoulos. No. The conservative commentary person from Breitbart back in the day when Breitbart
Okay.
was
I
actually
thought you were
a thing.
talking about like the leader of the Proud Boys.
It was like when Trump was
Which
running
one?
for election the first time around.
Say,
Like he
what
would
the
call him
fuck?
like Big Daddy Trump and stuff like that. Hilarious. So like a very openly gay Jewish man that has a taste for dark meat was called a white supremacist and a Nazi. It was like they would frown on all of those things.
Yeah.
But, like that just shows like
How
how
stupid
ridiculous
the
the left is, right? Like they
I
compare this
remember
guy to a
watching that.
Nazi, and if like he was around during the Nazi times, they would kill him for being gay, for being into interracial relationships, and for being a Jew. Like all of those things he would have been, in trouble for, but like somehow now he's literally a Nazi.
That's not how that works. I'm relatively certain that that's not how that works.
Yeah. And so I've
That's
no
not-
doubt
see
that
how that works.
a gay Cuban is now the leader of a white supremacist movement, much like the based Asians in Alberta were white supremacists for selling Rhodesian camel, along with like a bunch of other nations' camos.
Imagine bringing
Yeah.
back Hitler and he saw what the Nazis were nowadays. He'd be like,
Yeah,
I don't want to live on this world anymore.
yeah, yeah.
I don't. Well, let's continue in the series of Clown World. There's great fishing in Quebec.
Sorry, just one other thing quickly with Jagmeet and declaring the Proud Boys a terrorist group.
Isn't that cool?
It's interesting that he's for this, but then like that Khalistan group that he supports, he doesn't want them declared a terrorist group, even though they're an extremist
Not terrorism
group.
when he does
That's what I
it.
was gonna say at the very
Yeah.
beginning of that article. Is like, isn't that the kettle calling the pot black? a
Yeah.
little?
Well, brown with a funny hat, but same difference.
Yeah, and no one wants to label the Antifa as a terrorist organization, but whatever. Anyways, on to the next thing.
that's political.
It doesn't matter.
suicide.
That's the giant elephant in
Yeah.
the room. But yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't matter. No one's gonna care.
You know what, Dave? I totally even messed that because I was so confused about everything else that was going on in this story that we were going to declare people in another country terrorists.
Yeah.
I spaced on Jagmeet Singh's relationship to actual terrorists.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. No one else cares about it. At least of all
It's a good
Jagmeet.
point, and it's
don't
a
ask
good thing to
questions.
bring
But at
up,
least of
so,
all Jagmeet. Yeah,
theme
we're
of the
not allowed to ask
episode:
questions.
don't ask questions.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think
Unless
I'm
that
still going with
quite-
coup de Mardi Gras.
yeah. Unless the question is, where are your papers?
yeah, I have PayPal's.
But only in Quebec for right now.
Well, for now, let's.
Where are your
No.
PayPal's, sir?
You will not be doing any great fishing in Quebec.
Où est
No,
le papier,
not at
monsieur?
night, anyways. No fishing in the dark in Quebec, that's for sure.
What are you talking about? They're shutting down lakes up here anyway. In Ontario, there's lakes shut all over the place.
Which lakes?
Who wants to go to a lake anyway?
Ice fishing.
You just be quiet. Yeah, a bunch of lakes up north. They've been shut down. I was just on a couple of forums for like.
Simcoe open?
Sorry.
Simcoe open?
As far as I know, Simcoe and like Couchiching is still open, but a lot of the
Catch some
smaller
whitefish.
private lakes, they've been shutting them down.
Well, that sounds silly. Have they given a reason other than COVID?
Just COVID. That's it.
That's it.
I
That's
to
it.
say they did it. They did it in
So-
the prime month of September when
Yeah.
the main salmon run is on. They shut down access to all the rivers in Port Hope, like not allowed to access them for the whole month.
Does somebody want to explain to me how fishing spreads the Rona? I mean,
Yeah.
I guess if you go,
We're all
with other
carrying
people,
like
but
12-foot fishing poles, so like double the minimum distance for COVID regulations. Yet somehow
Now, is that like an
spread it with
internet
everybody.
12 feet or is that like a real life 12 feet?
it's a real life 12 feet. I mean, I can show you the rod. It's
I'd rather you didn't
Yeah,
keep your
that's-
rod to yourself.
Yeah. That's gonna get us kicked off the YouTube for sure.
You're using really thin line to catch like 40-pound salmon, so it's a very, very long rod to not break the line to catch these things.
It bends to
So
the
what
left.
Dave is saying, he uses his long rod to get all of the snapper.
Uh-huh.
Find me. You know where to find me.
Well,
Yeah.
not fishing in Quebec.
Yeah. Check
Or
out Dave's
apparently Northern Ontario.
OnlyFans. Yeah.
the big diesel.
All right. Quebec curfews take effect. Police are issuing fines. This isn't global news.
What's this from? Is this from? Oh, this is from Saturday.
This is from Sunday. Well, it was originally posted on Saturday, updated on Sunday. Today is, of course, Monday.
You should see what I saw on the news today. Their way of, rebelling, I guess, because the police are just driving down the streets with their horns blaring. So everybody's getting pissed off. So everybody's hitting their car alarms and just honking the shit out of all their cars at them as they go down the street.
But before curfew, the cops are going around blasting their sirens.
I guess like at the time or throughout the night, I'm not sure. It's hard to tell. You just see lots of video footage of cars with their lights on.
Does that mean the
honking
purge starts? Is that
pretty
is that
much?
how
Yeah,
that
I guess
goes?
that's what they're trying to signal. Get inside before we start arresting people and handing out $1,500 fines.
Hmm.
It used to be you have to go inside when the street lights come on, not when the police sirens go on.
I'm pretty sure the police forces across the country were like stretched thin, dealing with actual crime before this happened, and now they got.
No, this is the most pressing thing they got to deal with.
Now they're doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So what's going on with the crime?
No,
running wild.
this is the most important thing because this is a massive revenue generator.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be good. $1,000 per
Minimum.
violation.
Yeah.
$550 in
Starting.
additional fees, and they can go up to $6,000 per violation.
Boy. Tab out of neck.
Yeah.
Tabernacle San
Call this.
I don't know if we have the thing in here, but like there was the one family that got like nailed hard. So they live in Quebec. They went to New Brunswick and got like special permission from New Brunswick to go there because the father of the family, his father needed like urgent medical care because he was in like his late 70s. So they went to go look after him for several weeks, and then were like supposed to come home like earlier in the week, but then their car broke down and then had to wait for a part to come from Europe to fix the car, and then like ended up arriving in Montreal or wherever they live in Quebec like later in the evening, and they got caught and had to pay like some ridiculous amount of money because they ticketed like everybody in the car, and they have like 3 kids.
Wow.
What?
Truly ridiculous.
Oh my
Quebec
god.
is a joke. Sorry.
The kids got the tickets too, and they have to pay them when they're 18.
For Etienne or other Quebecois listeners, I am sorry. You guys live in a terrible place.
Just
This
the most
sounds-
Probably gonna
ridiculous
happen here
province that
too,
ever
man.
provinced.
Just hold
Yeah,
on.
I mean,
Well,
Don't be
I'm-
apologizing too soon.
Well, let's do one more poop on Quebec thing because it's funny.
Okay. We
And then
monsieur.
Then we can poop all over Ontario. So this is in Sherbrooke.
Sherbrooke.
Sherbrooke. What year do we wish it was?
I don't know, but goddamn them all. 1778.
Well, at least
I think
Gavin
it was-
got the joke.
Yeah,
I missed that one.
it's a good drinking
there's-
song. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll fill you in later.
So a Sherbrooke couple was issued fines, $1,500 apiece for walking after 9 p.m. A woman was out walking her husband
On a
while he was wearing his dog leash.
Yeah,
What?
because there
Is that a
is an
typo?
exemption. No, there is an exemption in
picture
the
of it.
So I
Quebec law.
totally read this wrong when I read it the first time earlier this afternoon.
The Quebec law has an exemption for walking your dog. So if you have a dog, you
Oh
are
my
allowed
God.
to be outside your home to walk your dog after 8 p.m.
Ah, okay. So they're trying to be
They
they're
were
trying
being
to.
cutesy and
Yeah.
skirting the rule and
the
got
cops have-
fined
How
for
do you
it.
say
And-
smartass in French?
And the cops have no. I would have let them go home with a warning. I mean, that's just funny. I mean, that's got to be like the
I
highlight of
would've
your night. But I mean,
just-
obviously, all the cops in Quebec have
No
zero
sense of humor.
sense of humor. They're like Canadian
Precisely
border
no
cops.
chill.
You mean because they ticketed people for having a water balloon fight?
Singing too loudly in their car. We've done.
Yeah.
There's
I
hardly
know,
a week
like-
goes by that we don't get to do a funny Quebec like the police ticketed somebody for
The
singing
funny
Happy
thing
Birthday
is
too
like
loudly
we have
this
a
week.
like a running that RCMP. We should totally just do that Quebec.
Yeah,
Because it's
that
just as
Quebec police
ridiculous.
force.
Because it's just as ridiculous.
It's just
right?
outlandish.
Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, but yeah. So basically, dog ownership in Quebec is going to go through the roof because people are going to have like just have your dog on you and just say you're walking your dog. Oh, my dog
Well,
doesn't
and
like
the-
walking in this park. I have to walk him in the one on the other side of
There
town.
is an exception to that. The exemption to allow you to walk your dog, you
That's
must
the
remain
other
within
one, huh?
You must remain within 1 kilometer of your home.
What if my dog is a big dog and likes to walk more than a kilometer?
You're doing laps, bro.
And are they going to stop every person with a dog?
I think that they're going to
To
stop a lot of
ascertain the
people.
distance. So like
One, it's
they're
the same as how
actual
you're going to
criminals
have
out
your
there.
papers. Like you're literally going to
Yeah.
be stopped and asked for your papers.
It's like they're basically getting karting back. I mean, is that a plus?
These kind of favors?
No,
mean-
not those.
Okay.
I wonder
If
I
your
wonder at what
employer
point
writes
they
on it and says
stop-
that you're essential, then you're fine.
Okay.
I wonder at what point they stop asking for people for papers because it's too racially sensitive for people that live in downtown Toronto.
Yeah,
It's too much like carding.
that's what I mean.
I wonder where that victim hierarchy falls. That's an interesting question.
Well, I have a feeling
I'm
that if
white,
you or
eh?
I are out walking around in Toronto,
Yeah, you're guilty
at
as
night.
fuck, bro. Guilty as fuck.
which we won't be, but if we were, for whatever reason,
Because I suddenly
We
get
would
paid
be
a lot
asked.
more money to be
Yeah.
in downtown Toronto.
we would be asked for our papers. Absolutely.
Well, let's go on. So there's 2 related articles here. One is in Pravda, the CBC. Ford says Ontario will consider tougher lockdown measures as an inordinate number of cases is reported that it's dumb and made up. And opinion piece in the Toronto Sun, Lily. Ontario's new lockdown measures will be like nothing we've seen before.
Before.
When was that written? Because today he wrote that they're not going to actually do curfews.
So this Lily article, the opinion piece in the Sun came out yesterday, Sunday the 10th.
Okay, so today they
the
just
comment
Lily
from
released another
Ford
one.
with the crazy number of numbers because every day there's more cases because of how we count cases came out on the 6th. That's last Wednesday.
I'm just
Yeah, but I
gonna
mean, Ford's also been accused of like doing the whole like cliffhanger TV end of a season nonsense, where it's like,
Well, he did that
His
at
last
Christmas
speech-
already, for fuck's sake.
well, but like he's done like his last thing on like Thursday or Friday, ever it was, he was like, the numbers are out of control.
we got
Everything's going crazy. Stay tuned next week for when we give you the actual numbers and show you our latest modeling results. It's like, well, why wouldn't you show us now? You're making decisions based on these numbers. Why don't you tell us now? Like,
You're asking
deadliest
too many
virus known
questions.
to man, but we're gonna wait X number of days to hear your new regulations, and then wait X
I'll
number
wait.
of days to put those regulations into force. But still, deadliest virus known to man. This doesn't make
Wow.
any sense.
No, not even a little bit.
Not really. My
But I guess
poor
we're not
little
allowed to
county
ask
didn't even make
questions.
my poor little county didn't even make Ford's lists of affected places because there was like 800 new cases in Toronto. It's like, yeah, my county had 0. Cool.
Well, that was when I went to go
Lockdown for
visit
you.
our
There's
good
also like
friend.
10 people that live in your county.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why
but
do you
that
think I
was-
like it here?
Because you're
When I-
not.
When I went to go see Dawn over the weekend, we were talking a little bit, socially distanced outside, of course. I was asking him like, what's it like in his little town, and he's like, oh, it's nothing. But like, there was one of the care homes in the area that like got reported as a positive test case, so like everyone kind of panicked, and then they're like, oh no, never mind, false positive, everybody's fine.
So
They made my
do we
1-year-old
know?
Ellie.
Do we know what
Yeah.
happened with Ford today? I know that there was a
Yeah,
cabinet meeting.
Well, Lily released another article saying that now all this, and there's multiple people that wrote articles, but multiple sources saying curfews are not in the cards as of right now, but there will be other stuff coming down the pipe.
What other stuff?
sure.
It's already like code gray plus
From
2.
from what I'm hearing, they could do a
Yeah.
sort of lockdown for like each region. So like people that are in Toronto need to stay within 10 kilometers of their house.
I've been saying
no matter
that
what
about
they're doing.
Toronto since I moved out of that shithole.
That's what I said.
That has nothing to do with the coronas. Yeah.
Yeah. But so like no
Fuck
actual
that,
curfew,
man.
but
I
like
gotta
if
be
you're
at least to go to the range.
well,
I've also heard that they're going to start trying to get enforced mask wearing outside as well.
That's the dumbest dumb thing to ever dumb.
F off.
Much like
Man.
much like a curfew. Like the coronas is only dangerous during the night. At day, you're totally fine to still shop at Walmart.
So now
As a
it's
matter
a
of fact,
vampire.
let's
Corona
make
is now a
everybody go
vampire.
out during the day.
I hate
Yeah.
this. We live in the worst timeline.
We do.
Yeah, I mean, I
It's
have
really
no
not
idea
that
what to
bad
know.
of a timeline. It's just that we have some really dumb people running our country.
No, it's a terrible timeline. Ever since we killed Harambe, we've been on the path to the dark timeline, and it's just getting darker and darker and darker and darker.
That it is.
I don't. Oh God. Pat on YouTube says that gorillas tested positive for corona in the San Diego Zoo. This is what we get. Full circle. It's all coming back to Harambe. If we didn't shoot the goddamn gorilla, we would have been fine.
Is this
We
what's
see-
going to
you know
make
what's
them
gonna
super
happen,
smart
though?
so they take us over?
Yeah, so this is it's gonna happen. Is that like something is gonna mutate when it mixes with this gorilla DNA now? And yeah, they're either gonna get super smart or they're gonna turn into like zombie gorillas and they're unstoppable or something like that. And that's gonna be the downfall of society right there.
Well, at least it's in California for starters.
Yeah.
Couldn't happen to a worse place.
That's where the apocalypse will start, probably.
Oh, absolutely.
With any hope.
And hopefully the earthquake that like splits them off from the continent happens before it spreads, but I don't think that be lucky enough.
One can
One
hope.
can only wish.
So my original plan was to ask you guys what you thought was going to happen in Ontario, but I guess Dave, if you knew what happened in cabinet today, I didn't realize that they were talking about it. What are we actually expecting? Do we know what the new?
No, that it's just from what.
God, this is the worst.
Yeah, no, there's no hard evidence, just from what others have done.
I think we're
that
gonna
is-
get a. I'm pretty.
a region based
positive.
like.
We already have that. We already have a region-based lockdown where different counties were in different.
Yeah, but the
levels
problem
of-
is we weren't cracking down on people going outside of their region to go shopping and grocery
I'm
shopping.
sorry,
and
but there's
doing
this
everything.
thing called the Bill of Rights and all of that.
I know.
that allows me to.
I'm not saying it's
travel
right. I'm
freely.
just saying that's.
And so if I
probably what's
work
gonna
in
happen.
one area and live in another, which I mean I don't, but in theory I do, I can't go and travel for work.
No. Obviously, essential workers.
Yeah.
aside.
And everyone is essential, and this is all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
How do you enforce
tired
that?
of this? The cognitive.
Like, are you gonna
dissonance,
card
the
everyone going
mental
into Walmart?
gymnastics.
Exactly. I'm gonna
They
start
should
doing my
card
black
everyone
place.
going into Walmart. They absolutely. That is a great place to card people. That and Costco. Card everybody going into big box retailers, because like if my local PD can stand in front of the grocery store when they're like had a lineup the other day, they can 100% go stand in front of the big box retailers and make it miserable for everybody that come from Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like
And then
the
they'll
whole
stop doing
thing
it.
is
It won't.
is
You only
not-
have to do it for a week, and then they'll just stop doing it.
I don't doubt
We
that we're
had to
having
close the
curfews
whole
though.
damn country for 2 weeks.
You misspelled 10 months.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it just,
No,
it
I
just
don't doubt-
infuriates me, the mental gymnastics that these people have to go through to like pretzel
well,
their
that's-
brains
that-
into how
that's
to
why,
make
like,
this.
I mean, Ford's already come out and like done all of his sensationalism and told us that like the new regulations are going to be shocking and this and that and everything. I don't doubt we're going to get curfews because like they need to do something to make it look like they're doing something. And this is the easiest way to like do something without really affecting the population. Right.
Well,
Like
I
with everything being
already-
closed, what the hell is there to do at night anyways? So they're going to go, oh yeah, curfews, and it's going to look like we've done something. It's going to look like we've mirrored Quebec. It's dumb, and
I was talking
it
to
doesn't do anything.
my copper buddy, and I was telling him that if they do this lockdown thing, like, because we were reading what was happening in Quebec last week when it was coming into effect. I was talking to a copper friend of mine, and I was saying, like, if we're going to do this lockdown 5 a.m. to 8 p.m., same as in Quebec, he's going to have to, like, come arrest me in the park, because I'm just going to start PTing in the morning in the park at 4:30, and then I'm going to PT again after my kid goes to bed at 8.
Yeah, I mean,
It just,
before I
like-
knew there was a dog walking exemption, I was like, I'm going to just walk the dog like at 8:30, just cause.
Well,
Like-
worst part is my copper buddy's like, okay, cool. I'll bring beers.
Yeah. Like, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Like, this is pure revenue generation. This does nothing. Like, even if this whole thing is real, a curfew isn't going to do anything. You've now forced people to go and shop in a more
condensed
concentrated time.
Yeah.
So if anything, it's going to make it worse.
Yeah, more panic too.
And like the people that are like that are going to break the law and congregate in large numbers are going to still do that anyway. So what's going to happen is they're going to have a party at their friend's place, and they're just going to stay over and then just drive home in the morning after curfew ends.
Exactly.
Not that I'm giving you guys suggestions,
Well, that's what I thought. I'm like, well, I mean, if I go hang out at somebody's house,
but they probably should have been doing that anyways if they were drinking. But then, like, who isn't essential? So, like, are Uber drivers now
Everyone
essential?
is essential. Everyone is essential.
Right. So they're gonna just like hang out in their cars in the hope that somebody gives, like, because then okay, I'm gonna just put the Uber app on my phone but not accept any fares and just drive around all night, right? Like, yeah, I'm working for
probably
Uber.
going to continue to do the same stuff I always
Exactly.
do, which is work and podcast and complain about the government and work
Yeah.
out and load
And-
ammo.
and
Because
free men
that's all I
don't
do.
need permission to leave their houses.
no.
But I don't like leaving my house to begin with. So I'm really
Yeah, but
okay
if you're
with
doing
this.
If you're doing it because you don't want to leave your house, that's fine.
That's fine. But don't
It's
you
not-
want the
I
option
shouldn't
to
even
leave
say
your
that.
house? Don't you want the
It's that
option?
I don't like interacting with the public. That's really
Yeah.
what it is.
But I'm of the opinion where, like, I'm the same. Like, I am quite content to like come home from work and like stay home and not do anything, right? Unless I basically meet up with the people that are on this show and a few others, and that's about it. But the minute that they tell me that like I can't leave my house after 8 o'clock, it makes me want to go outside and do things because
And that was why I was telling my copper buddy,
Yeah.
like, get ready to arrest the guy in the short shorts in the park at 4:30 in the morning, because I'm going to start running through the park at 4:30 in the morning. 'Cause
Yeah.
fuck you, that's why.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're still allowed to be out after that time. You need to be, at least in Quebec, within a kilometer of your house, I think, right now.
No.
I-
So you can
I
still
think-
be out.
There are very specific rules, and like one of those things is you can walk your dog within a kilometer of your house.
Yeah.
but if
I
you're
don't
just
think you're allowed
out,
to just be out.
and
I got
like, and then that also
Standing
brings
in
up
the
other things
driveway.
where it's like, what do they mean by outside of your home? Is that outside of the dwelling, or is that outside of the property? Like, can you be on your front lawn
Yeah, it
drinking
says-
beers
it
with your
says
neighbor?
Back,
It
in
says
Quebec,
backyard.
you can be in your yard.
Yeah, you can be in your yard. It specifically says that.
So I wish I liked my neighbors, because then I could just sit on my front lawn and they could sit on their front lawn and we could just drink alcohol together.
You're literally describing what me and the little old lady across the street do.
But
I guess we like each other. That's the difference.
yeah. I don't really know my neighbors. I just don't.
Well, I know all my neighbors. They're wonderful people, mostly.
It's the problem with living in the city, right? But also that means I don't have to interact with them. So like it's a plus and a minus.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is dumb. I mean, especially for people that live in like condos and apartments and stuff like that. And like especially if you live in a condo and apartment that doesn't have a balcony and you don't have anywhere to go and get fresh air.
Yeah.
Like, to me that sounds like a massive health problem, but like whatever, what do I know? I'm not an expert. I don't have modeling numbers that I can manipulate to prove whatever I want to prove.
Oh, different kind of modeling.
Yeah, not
Never
those
mind.
kind. Yeah.
Never mind. Also, we should start wrapping this up. But apparently, according to the YouTube comments, Google Podcast is broken. So I guess if you're listening to this, you're not listening to it on Google Podcasts. I will
Probably been
try to look into
deplatformed.
that, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
We probably got canceled.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, or it could be something with the RSS feeds broken. I will try to do my best interning later and look at that. But like, as long as the RSS feed's still up, that's about as involved as I get in fixing it.
Yeah, you know where to find us. Obviously, you're listening live right now, so
Yeah,
Same here.
All our episodes are on
Spot-
YouTube as well, right?
Spotify should be up. We haven't been kicked off of YouTube yet.
or
And,
iTunes.
Well, the iTunes and the RSS feed are all the same thing. So
Yeah.
as long as the RSS feed is still up, that's really all I care about. Because like, plug your RSS feed into your podcatcher on your mobile device or whatever you listen to podcasts on, and just use that. Anything more than that is more time than I'm willing to invest. Sorry.
Yeah, if you need a different format, you can try to reach out to Earl. You probably have to use the Morse code and the Telegram machine to get a hold of him. He's a little behind on his technology, but he'll gladly send you a cassette recording of the show.
You can always do
miss Earl.
YouTube conversion to MP3. That's free.
Yeah, I'll try to look into the Google Podcast. I didn't even know we were posting on Google Podcast. It's just something that's built into our hosting platform, I imagine. But I will try to take a look at that. We should go around. Oh, we should shill. I forgot about shilling. If you're buying stuff on Amazon, if you haven't cashed out of Amazon yet, and you're still buying stuff on Amazon, you should use our affiliate link so that I get a portion of the profit. Because I'm still using Amazon
Instead of
it's
Amazon.
the cheapest place to buy diapers.
Nice.
Does it really matter where I buy my diapers for my kid from? Probably not.
It does not at all. As long as your kid has diapers, that's the important thing.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, do I give my money to Amazon or Walmart?
Yeah.
Where else do you buy diapers?
Equally
from?
terrible, yeah. Equally
like,
terrible.
Okay, so I do.
So
I
at
want
least
to
you give less of your dollars, and then you get a cut of those dollars back.
And that was my thought. Was like, where's the place I can spend the least amount of money on this?
Yeah, I still use the Amazon because sometimes you just don't have a choice,
Oh,
especially in this crazy world.
what social media can we be found on? We can't. Sorry. I've been kicked off of social media. The podcast lost their Instagram. At one point, we still had a podcast Facebook. I'm not allowed on Facebook, so I can't check it.
We
I don't
still
know.
do.
It's there.
Do we?
It's there. I don't know if I get the messages that are sent to it or not, but you could try.
Yeah, like I don't think the episodes get posted to it, though, so it's not really.
Yeah.
No, I can't log into
Yeah.
Facebook anymore. I'm banned from Facebook, so I'm not allowed to, because I publish the podcast on my side. So yeah. Sorry, Mark. I don't know. You
I'm
can't
still
catch
on
us on
Facebook.
Instagram. You can't. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you can talk to Brian on Facebook, but you can't get the podcast page.
If you need to ask anything about these guys, you can ask me, and I'll ask.
I mean,
them.
I'm still on the Book of Faces, even though I was kicked off. You'll have to crack my code though to find my pseudonym.
It's pretty hard to crack, though.
Yeah,
Nevin.
I mean,
I've had some people that didn't even notice.
I'm also on Facebook as well.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, you guys individually are. I'm not.
the show
and the
still has the
podcast
page.
might be, but
I just
who
don't know
knows
if
who
anyone
has
gets the
access to
messages.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't.
Try
I don't
sending
know
it
that
a
anybody has
message.
access.
Yeah, try
See if
sending it a
anyone
message,
answers.
and I'll see if I can answer it. Yeah, simple.
When will the revolution start? It won't. The revolution will not be broadcast on YouTube.
Yes. We'll talk about it after.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on whatever
Tune-
whatever platform that we.
Tune into the
Finally allowed.
campfire to find out who won.
Yeah,
And thank you to Pat for buying 1984 on Amazon and participating in book club.
yeah,
Be more well read. Knowledge
Yeah.
is power, and so forth.
yep.
That's
And
it.
if you're buying stuff on Amazon, like your Audible or your books for book club, use the affiliate link. And if you haven't got yourself an official Big Luau shirt, spend the $20, because I still think the Hawaiian shirt meme is a funny meme.
And they're good
Right.
shirts for $20.
They
make great
real
holsters.
coconut
Snazzy.
buttons. Real
Yeah.
coconut buttons.
You really pop at the range, and I love it.
Yeah,
Everybody will take notice. Everybody will come
Yeah.
over and say, "Hey, I like your shirt. Trust me."
absolutely.
It's true. It does happen.
Yeah.
So go
Especially when like
around.
4 or 5 of you show up all wearing the exact same shirt.
or different shades of the same shirt. That's also funny.
Or have a holster in that pattern.
Yeah. Also a good time. Blends right in.
Yeah.
Camouflage. Dave, where can everybody find you on the internet, buddy?
Find me at IG, Diesel6223. Still posting.
All right. Good stuff. And are you officially a sponsored shooter yet?
Don't know yet. They're accepting applications till Jan 31st, and then I think they said they're going to do the announcement later in February. So won't know for a little while yet. If
Really?
Yeah, for
Yeah,
MDT.
well,
But
good luck, Dave.
I'm not going to say that you should like mess with Dave's ability to sponsor it, but maybe like if you like Dave's Instagram,
give it a follow.
message MDT and tell them that you like Dave's Instagram and that he should be a sponsored athlete.
Yeah,
I'd appreciate it. I really
definitely has got the skills for it.
Yeah.
would appreciate
Well, I
it.
mean, the shots of Dave shooting are usually quite majestic.
It's true. I'm very photogenic.
But not as good as the shots that he's taken with his rifle, which is exactly why he should be a sponsored shooter.
Right.
That's not how
Equally
Instagram
as
influencing
majestic.
works.
Gold
No,
medals
pretty
for
sure
days.
it is.
If I've learned anything from how to market on Instagram, the more butt you put on the thing, the better your chances of success are.
This
I
weekend
don't
was
know if that'll
especially good for the butt.
I don't know if that applies for us though.
Most of Dave's shooting is people taking pictures of him while he's shooting. So yeah, there's some butt.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the type of butt I was.
I've been
thinking
told
about.
everybody loves seeing me leave the room.
Yeah.
Instagram influencer.
Hate to see you go, but we love to watch you leave. Is that
Exactly.
Man, I
That's
watched
it,
that
Gavin.
guy
That
walk
is it.
away all day.
All right, Gavin, where can everybody find you?
the best place to find me is on the Instagram, Urbex GTA, all one word. And we've just fact checked this. You can still reach the podcast on the Book of Faces. So you can apparently reach me through the podcast on the Book
Excellent.
of Faces as well.
All right, I'm gonna have to figure out how to turn that off. Fix that after I fix the Google. Brian, where can everybody find you?
I can be found on Facebook at Brian Quinnell.
All right. You can't get me on social media. You want to talk to me, you do it through
And me.
Ragnarok Tactical or you email me. If you're buying stuff for future events because you want to be a more prepared person or you need a plate carrier or you're in search of body armor, and it is legal for me to sell you body armor in the province which that you're in. It's hard to talk, getting late.
Which you live.
Yeah.
Or reside.
Use the discount code Patriot at checkout. Save yourself some money. Still doing $10 shipping on everything. I'm working on getting some more med stuff in. I know we're a little light right now. Trying to stock up on that.
Everybody's light on everything. It's rough times.
It's supply chain, man.
Yep.
Supp-
COVID.
And if I get one more vendor that tells me it's because of the Rona, I'm gonna
It's
lose.
COVID, Andrew.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Shove that
it's
Rona
COVID.
right up their arse sideways.
You know one thing that we're not light on right now?
COVID excuses.
Courses.
Mm.
Oh,
True.
touche.
We do have the big announcement. So everybody that's still listening, we
Yeah.
have our first class of 2021.
And where can they be finding that?
So go on ragnaroktactical.ca, go on our website and look on the top and it says upcoming classes, or you can go under training, or you can go under products and look under training. There's lots of places to find it. We're offering a land navigation and map reading class. So map reading and land nav, February 2021 in Mississauga, 2 day. It really probably more like a day and a half class.
So one of these.
No, not on a phone.
No,
Like
no,
map,
no.
paper map,
Yeah.
analog compass, magnetic compass.
Old school.
So 1 day
Like a
classroom,
boss.
Yeah.
half-ish day field exercise in the classroom. It's a
whole
full
Ragnarok
day
crew will be there.
of me
Whole
being
crew.
autistic about how maps work, and you'll get a map and a compass and a protractor, and you'll learn how to get an azimuth and a back bearing and how to measure stuff and do scales and map your route and convert into different grid systems and calculate the number of degrees on your field of view and all of that fun stuff.
Yeah.
And then
You learn about declination and all the
all
stuff
of the
to know how to
important
use a
map
compass.
skills.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then day 2, the Sunday, we're going to go out and we're going to actually practice it. And Gavin and I are going to give you a land nav course.
Yeah, we're gonna yell
gonna
at
go
you
and-
while you use a compass.
That's
I'm looking forward to it.
do push
Compass harder. Compass harder.
You must go north now.
Yeah.
Magnetic north or map north? I'm so
Just
confused.
do it. Yeah.
So yeah, $130. It's a day and a bit.
Yeah.
2 day, not quite a 2 day course, a day and a half
Yeah.
course, something like that. Sunday is going to be
Yeah.
more of a. It takes you as long as it takes you because it's kind of at your own pace. But there's going to be some real world. You have to go to some places and do some things.
We may or may not be shooting at you with paintballs outside. Maybe.
No, we definitely won't be doing that.
No. We will yell at you, but that costs extra.
If it helps. If it helps for me to yell at you, I will yell at you.
So you're telling me
get on the list.
I can't do that?
It is a limited number of seats, and we've already sold a bunch. Thanks to everybody that follows the Ragnarok Tactical Instagram page. That's where it came out. And thanks for everybody that signed up to that. We're gonna keep talking about that. So if you're not sick of land nav yet, then I mean, maybe you will be. For the people online that are complaining about the distance and the fact that it's in Mississauga, yeah, I know I have to drive to Mississauga too. It's not my favorite, but we did build this with a contingency in mind. If we go into lockdown and we get into lockdown 3, the lockening, and we're not allowed to do this in person, backup plan is to do this on Zoom. And if there's enough people that are interested, we'll do like digital course delivery and we'll do an online course. We won't be able to do the practical field stuff together, but we can at least do the online, like everybody can get a map and we can go through.
I'm sure we can reschedule the practice.
Or if you have enough people in your area that would be interested in a class like this and an area in which we can conduct a field exercise, we'd be happy to travel to you to put on the course if and when the government says that that's okay to do so.
So
or we could just do it all outside.
If you've got like 10 friends and you want to have us come to a land nav or shooting course, get in touch with Ragnarok Tactical. You can email us sales@ragnaroktactical.ca or get in touch with the podcast feedback at canadianpatriotpodcast.com. And if you're thinking about doing the land nav course, you should sign up now and pay your money because there's not a lot of seats left.
Yeah.
I think that's everything except the apology. I have to apologize to Rod, 12 feet long, Giltaca. We couldn't fit him into the frame for this show. Something snappy. I don't remember. It was a fishing joke, I think. For all of our listeners out there in podcast land, I'd like to remind you that you're the true north, strong and free.